And with that, we are live across all manner of platforms. Welcome to the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. My name is Steven Dutzman. I'm your host, and I am joined by one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, Amanda Farrow, the Princess of Power, returning from
That's
her
me.
hiatus.
With a
How
new
are you?
office.
In a new office, which I
In a
love.
new office. Which
Oh,
is incredible.
well, thank you,
That's
Ready
just me.
Player Mama, who happens to be you. Um,
What's up?
yeah, I love your new office. I love your new setup. I can't wait to see it like slowly develop over time. I know you're lighting it tomorrow because I've
I
seen.
am. Yeah, all my lighting strips are coming tomorrow. We're
I can't
lighting the
wait.
back. Like we have a bookshelf to build, and lots going on. I'm kind of bummed because I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm used to being like hooked into Ethernet. So if I look a little stilted or I sound a little stilted, it's because I'm on crippity crap ass uh internet.
We'll make it work. You are breaking up a little bit and a little stuttery, but that's okay. We will make it work because this is show business, and with show business, you just gotta make it work.
The
So
show
the
must go on.
reason you are in a new office that doesn't have lights, that has crappy internet, is because you moved. So how has that experience been? Moving your
Uh,
army of humans.
well, considering that the last time I moved was literally from Vancouver, British Columbia to, New Jersey, USA, it was a lot easier.
Yeah,
So there's that.
it was
We're only moving
closer.
5 minutes away. We have a lot of stuff. It
Yeah,
was closer. It was still kind of it was the thing. It was challenging. We had a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of, oh my goodness, how are we going to get this all done?
yeah.
But
I,
ultimately, obviously, we got here. Nothing was broken. We hired movers to help us with the big stuff. And it's nice to have a little bit more room. We don't have a ton of room down here because we're sharing the office with James and Danielle. But
you have like
it's
a
kind of nice.
regular. You got like a regular office complex down there. Like this really is
Yeah,
like the open floor plan of some kind of weird startup.
it kind of is. Yeah, it really, really is. And I mean, this is only temporary for us. We're building a whole other building for F squared in the
Ooh,
premises. So
that'll be great.
that'll be cool. It's gonna be a long time because it's hard to get building materials and it's hard to get permits, but
Yes.
we're gonna make it work. And I like this space. We're gonna get new lights put in, and we're gonna light the backs
Yeah.
of these guys. So it's gonna be great. I'm excited. I really am.
I'm gonna have to like 3D print an EFG rocket to
Do
like
it.
put it behind so we can put it on one of those shelves.
I can put it on this one. There's room
Yeah.
up there.
There's room. There's room. I should do
Like
this quickly before that fills up because just a
right
few.
there.
Because
Right next to
really,
my Valhalla horn.
yeah. Because all we need is like 2 or 3 more super cute games to come out and have plushies, and it's over. And they put out a new
It's true.
Bug
I do have
Snacks
a plushie
expansion.
shelf now. I have a whole
It's
shelf
true.
full of plushies over there. I can't wait for them to be lit
Yeah,
properly.
absolutely. So I am super glad that you are that part of your moving process has gone. You and I texted regularly throughout it, and so I feel like I was a part of it. I was like a cheerleader. I was sending energy. I wish I was there helping, but you were just a little too far away. Also, I had a job. If I wasn't working, I probably would have found my way out there, and I would have had you hire me to be a mover. Um, Lord knows it would have been. It would have. They say don't work for your friends, but we'd have figured it out.
I'm awesome to work with though.
I know. Yeah. So I know I've tried a number of times, and it just doesn't work out. But that's okay. But we get to work together. So it's
It's true.
video game week, Amanda.
It is. Yay. I love video games.
Our video game's great. So I figured we'd let this conversation kind of go with us as you and I are wont to do. You recently just got back from the
Yes,
Game Developers Conference, GDC. Much of what you
I
experienced
did.
there either you can't talk about or would be incredibly boring
It's just
for
not
us.
relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did see some video games.
I did. I saw some cool games. Some of them I can talk about, some of them I can't. Um,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to telling you about this one experience that I saw that was it at Control Alt GDC, which is their alternate controller video games. I saw a
Mhm.
particularly interesting one that I think you'll like.
And we are absolutely going to talk about that stuff. I'm going to let you ponder on which ones you can talk about and which ones you can't while we talk about a game we absolutely can talk about because it came out last Friday. That is Kirby and the
Yeah,
Forgotten Land.
Kirby.
So you played the demo and then
I
scooted
did.
off to be responsible. I
To be an adult, I
yeah,
adulted for like a whole week.
I know, it was crazy. I had no such restrictions. So I am happy to say I have played a fair amount of it. Two of my three children have played a fair amount of it. You know who is
Yes,
the expert in this game in our house? Meggie. Um, she's the one who
not
has gotten
surprising.
she's the one that's gotten the farthest and has been telling us all to what to do and where to go. Um, she is my online Wikipedia guide. So let's talk. So
Bless.
I'm going to talk about Kirby. Here's my opinions. Here's my opinion about it. It is not for me. I don't think. Part of that is I like it. It's just it's not like grabbing me and like making me want to play like a
Right.
Horizon does or like a Mario or a Zelda. However, it is immaculate. Every animation, every sound effect, every little detail. This is full of that Nintendo polish that you and I have talked about pretty much
Many
every time we
times.
talk about a Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And this is no different. Um, I think it absolutely sticks the landing on being Kirby in 3D. It is more Mario Odyssey than it is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, in that this is individual stages that
Yep.
you're kind of moving from place to place in an overworld. And I saw some takes being disappointed because they thought it was going to be this big sprawling open world. I don't think we need that for Kirby. Um, I like
I
Nintendo's
feel
level
like
design.
open world has its I feel like open world has its place in video games, and I feel like Kirby is not the one.
Yeah, no, Kirby feels it has its roots as a side-scrolling platform game. So as a result, just make it a 3D platformer and roll with it. And they did, and it's gorgeous. The levels are full of little hidden secrets and you know things that there's wanted posters on the wall you're supposed to knock down, but they're kind of deviously hidden around. It's great. It really is great.
It's immaculate, especially as far as platformers are concerned. The last time I played like a great platformer that felt really good from beginning to end was Super Lucky's Tale,
Mhm.
um, which came out I don't know what like 3 years
Years
ago.
ago.
I want to
Yeah,
say I
years
was still
ago.
at Super Parent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
was
was still at Super
originally
Parent,
VR.
so it
And then,
was, and then it came to Xbox, and then it ended up on Switch.
yeah.
So very, very cool game. I wouldn't say that Super Lucky's Tale is immaculate by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like it's in the same vein where it's beautiful, that the platforming feels good, that there's lots of cool stuff to explore. And yeah, it's still a level, but man, those levels are big.
Yeah. And I feel this and I feel the same way about Kirby in that so the deal with Kirby really comes down to um the levels are not these sprawling giant things. They really are focused, and some of them are actually pretty linear. But the way that they force you to kind of explore the mechanics, and especially the way they force you to use the mouthful modes to kind of
Yeah.
deal with other obstacles and get you all over the place, is really cool. I have a very hard time. I have not finished it. I will finish it. And my kids are all slowly working their way through it as well. I have a very hard time imagining this not finding its way onto our EFG Essentials list for the Nintendo Switch. Something like this came out something is getting bumped for this because it is really good. And this is one of those games that I really do feel comfortable. Um, this is one of those games that I really feel comfortable recommending to just about anyone. It
Mm.
is um, just because of its quality, but also because it is so, it's cute and it's fun, and even the monsters, even the bosses are kind of cute, in a
It's not
monstrous
very
kind of way.
difficult.
And it's also not difficult. They have they have two difficulty modes too. They have an easy mode,
I know.
which I really appreciate. It really kind
Hmm.
of makes it even that much more accessible for younger kids.
I agree.
It's not like a no fail mode like they have in Tunic or anything like that. But this is, he still takes
No,
damage.
it's fair.
Kirby does, but it's pretty close. Kirby's already kind of nigh
Hmm.
indestructible. And you know what? The transition from 2D to 3D, I thought it was going to be very awkward, but they really did figure out a way to
It's
take all of.
seamless.
They really did figure out a way to make Kirby's powers all work in 3D. They all work like you think they would in 3D, even though you've never seen them that way. And I think that's very cool. And the movement, like when you have your ice powers, there's like a subtle curve to the way you move, whereas before
Yeah,
you just kind of moved faster because you were just on a straight line. But now when you move forward, you're kind of
exactly.
you're doing like a little little wave there, to still go a straight line, which took a little bit of getting used to, but I think it's super cool. You're also moving a little faster, and so I can't recommend it enough. I posted my impressions over on the Engaged Family Gaming TikTok over the weekend, um, and it went mini
Which you
viral.
all should be following, by the way. Everyone should
Yeah,
follow the TikTok. The TikTok has really, really great content.
yeah. I feel like in the last week or two, I have really come into my own on there, so I will take that compliment. Um,
I agree.
as far as talking heads go, because I'm not doing like I'm not dancing, but as far as talking heads with a picture over my head go, chef kiss, I think. So that's Kirby. It's I mean it is going to find its way onto our EFG essentials, unless it takes like a real turn in the last couple of levels. Like the last couple, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen. It's been getting great reviews from a bunch of people that I trust, so I'm not worried. Um, and you might even get a chance to like play it soon, Amanda.
I hope so. I have a whole house to unpack at this
You
point.
do,
I
you
know it
do.
looks like I'm fully unpacked, but I'm like maybe 55% unpacked in my house right now.
So maybe like 4th of July.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah.
4th of July. You know
Yeah.
what? If you haven't played Kirby by 4th of July, I'm coming down and I'm gonna hold you down and have you play it.
Okay.
That's it.
Deal. Deal.
So 4th of July, that's the deal. Now the question is whether or not she will delay playing it to force me to come down there. That's the question. Um, Linda and I have talked about invading, coming down and just being those people.
That's fine.
Yeah, I didn't. I
That's
told her that
fine.
it probably wouldn't be much of an invasion. Um,
No.
so
What's two
um,
more people?
yeah, exactly. Well, we're still outnumbered.
You
Um,
are
so
aggressively outnumbered.
aggressively outnumbered
Vivian
by
counts
many.
as
She does count as 4.
4 people.
She's intense.
Yes.
I'll bring mine though. That kind of like changes that. Then
Yeah,
they we have like
Maggie counts for 4 too.
yep. It's true. So, all right. So that is Kirby. Highly
It is.
recommend. I have been playing another game that recently came to Apple Arcade. We do love Apple Arcade here. Um,
We do.
guess what? They remastered and re-released on Apple
Tell me.
Arcade. Alto's Adventure.
We are big Alto's Adventure fans and
Yes, we
Alto's
are.
Odyssey.
It's the first one that they remastered. My
Oh
guess
my
is that
goodness,
Odyssey will
yes.
come soon. Um, I originally I saw the notification. I was like, oh, this must be new. And then I started playing through it, and I'm like, this is not new. And then I kept playing anyway because Alto's Odyssey on iOS, perfect addition to Apple Arcade. It is an awesome, really cool,
Agree.
minimalist snowboarding game. that really just
I love it.
you just kind of travel down a mountain, travel through like ruined cities, and
It's
you just
like it's like if you took the sand surfing from Journey,
yes, and made that
like the
into
video
a
game Journey. And if you've never played Journey, you should absolutely play Journey. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It's like if you
Journey
took
is
that just one level and you turned it into an entire endless runner game.
yep, pretty much that's what it is. Um, it is a better snowboarding game than Shredders. There you go. That's it. That's the
No
tweet.
word of a
Uh,
lie, folks.
so I mean, Shredders is fine, but Shredders is not as
It's
good as
not
Alto's
Altos.
Adventure. So,
No.
and so I again, I'm not gonna not plug it. Apple Arcade, especially now that what they've been doing is going back and taking older games and remastering them and fixing some of basically what they've been doing is fixing like the monetization shenanigans on from earlier versions and like re-releasing them as the game plus and
Right.
putting them out on app. And so it's kind of like a
Also, what the
remaster.
golf is on it.
What?
You can't talk about Apple Arcade without talking about what the golf.
We'll talk about what the golf later. So it is the fact that they've been re-releasing everything and just kind of revamping, making the controls work because obviously Apple Arcade is on all sorts of stuff. So the so yeah, I can't not plug it for $5 a month, especially if you have like an iPad or an iPhone. It is if we're gonna talk about Game Pass being the best deal in gaming, I think Apple Arcade is a close second. And if you don't
Right
have a
up there.
console, it's an amazing price. It's less than you would spend
It is.
on Candy Crush if you only played that one game.
That's true.
And you get a whole lot more. And they keep adding new stuff. New stuff comes out every week. So anyway,
Darn
so
good
those-
deal, folks.
those are so that's around the horn. There's all sorts of noise happening
It
in
is.
my house. So
It's all
forgive
good.
me. My wife just got home from class, and so the world is ending apparently. Okay,
Or it is being made whole.
or it is being made whole. I don't know. It sounds like an apocalypse. So Amanda,
Sure.
you went to San Francisco.
I
Is that
did.
where it was?
Yes.
So
First time I've left New Jersey in like 2 years.
I know, wild, right?
Well, I guess it's not since I left New Jersey. It's since I left the East Coast.
Yeah, because I mean, you came to the Sprint, right?
Yeah, and I went down to
Yeah.
Maryland a couple
Yeah,
times.
you went to Maryland. Yeah, so you've left. This is the first cross country voyage
This
you've
is.
had in a while.
Yeah.
Which
First time I've been on a plane since I went to Disneyland with Danielle. So
yeah, so GDC had its problems. However,
Did.
for your business, it went great. But you also saw some
Oh,
video
certainly.
games there.
I did. I did.
So, do you remember which ones you can talk about? Because I know GDC is always crazy, right? Because like there's a whole lot of behind closed doors, and then there's a smattering of things you can talk about because they get announced during the show.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So there are a few things that I can't talk about because they are still embargoed until later this week. But what I can talk about is, I went over to go visit the really good folks over at Raw Fury. They're an indie game publisher. I'm sure that you've played at least one of their games over the span of your life, I'm sure, because they've been around for a while and they publish pretty cool games. So I went over to the loft with Mike and we checked out 3 games.
Okay.
2 of which I can talk about. The other one is embargoed. And there was another game that I saw behind closed doors, but I can't talk about that one either. So I'll talk about the ones that I can talk about. So I started my time off with the Raw Fury folks, checking out this game. I think that Flat Eye's been announced, right, Mikey? Yeah. So I was checking out this game called Flat Eye. Now, it doesn't sound like anything, right? It sounds like it's going to be kind of this off the chain narrative game, and it doesn't sound like anything, but actually a management simulator. which is really cool. And you know how much I love my Sims, right? You know how much I love my management Sims and all that stuff. That's like
Yeah.
a thing that it is known. It is absolutely known. The Civ, you know, the Civ Twitter account just tweeted Civ today. And, listen, I really like Civ, so like I just responded yes, go on.
Flat
I
Eye,
really
the
like strategy games.
world's
So Flat Eye is it's an immersive narrative experience that is told through the lens of managing managing a robot being managed by an AI while they run a gas station and some sort
Okay.
of like cuspy utopian dystopian society. We're not really sure what it's going to be yet because the AI is still figuring it out. And your job is to keep this gas station going, learn about humanity, and help people to make the right choices about interacting with various pieces of technology, interacting with each other, and that kind of thing. And there's lots of different interesting characters. This is very much like it's a cyberpunk kind of game in that it feels very corporation
Yeah.
centric, but the gameplay itself is really cool. Like it's really interesting, and I love a great management sim. So Flat Eye was one of them. Definitely
Okay.
go check out Flat Eye and go put it on your wish list because it is
Yeah.
really neat.
I just went and grabbed the YouTube video. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the chat. I noticed
Brilliant.
on if you're watching on Facebook, Facebook blocks links in the chat. So no, never mind. They just delay it.
Got it.
One of the first things I noticed is they have a vending machine with human organs. My guess is this is leaning more in the direction of a dystopia. But who am I?
So
who am I to
that's
say?
if you it's had that like the choices that you make really do affect
Oh wow! All
the
right.
game. So you can choose to create that kind of technology or you can choose not to. You
Oh,
can
all right.
choose to encourage the AI to go in one way or you can choose not to. So there are all these kinds of like branching narrative paths that you can wander down and it makes for a really interesting playthrough. So
Awesome.
that is
That
Flat
actually
Eye.
sounds really cool. And what else?
It's pretty interesting. Like I really dug it based on that information. And the other one I want to talk about is Gun Jam. Now, Gun Jam started off as the wildest viral video. Like it was just a demo that the developers threw out on social and it went viral. And they turned that little demo, that little viral video, into a full-fledged video game. It is a rhythm shooter, a rhythm first person shooter
Yes.
along the lines of Hellsinger and BPM. So what makes Gun Jam different is that it is house and EDM music. So it's not
Yep.
heavy metal. It's like very poppy. It's very accessible music that you can just like really get into. And you don't just control, your gun by hitting the beats. You control your person. Like you're still using like, WASD to move. But if you want to move forward or you want to like dash, you have to keep it on the beat and you have to keep your shots on the beat and like you're still moving, but you get more powerful the more notes you hit and the more rhythmic streaks you build up. So I went and I played that demo with the developers and they asked me after I was done, they're like, "Are you sure you haven't played this game before? Because you were really good," which I'm still very flattered about. So that's what the Fall Guys developers said to me too, all those years ago in like 2018. They're like, they got a ringer in the audience here. I'm like, what? I'm not a ringer. I just play video games. Don't worry about it. Nobody here but us chickens.
Nobody here but us chickens. I will say one thing I particularly like about this game, and I did post a link into the chat, and it should have gone through to everybody. Stream tools that I use. Is that everything's robots.
Everything's robots.
So when you shoot a robot, instead
it just kind of disintegrates.
Yeah, it's and just and really what it does is it disintegrates in the most EDM way possible, which is flashing lights and sparks.
Yep.
It feels like robot slash Power Rangers, like with like the sparks and the bright
Yes.
lights, and I mean
It
that
is.
as the highest compliment.
Oh yeah,
This
no, I
is
get you.
this is one of those games that I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I have zero rhythm, which you
No.
can probably tell just by looking at me. And how can a guy with a beard like this have rhythm? But the it throws off the equilibrium is what I'm getting at. And
I get you.
but I think for some people this is going to be one of those like really satisfying, like really like zen experiences.
It's very satisfying. I can confirm that gameplay loop really feels good to play. And
Yeah.
you hardly notice. Once you get into a groove, you hardly notice it because it's just muscle memory. It's like when you like fully learn a song in Guitar Hero, you really want to go back. Like when you fully learn a song in Guitar Hero and you don't even need to think about it, it's all muscle memory.
I mean, I don't have to go too far back. My oldest is all in on Beat Saber, and so his on the Oculus. So for him, Beat Saber in the kitchen, because that's the place that they play. Like I'll walk into the kitchen and he'll be standing there in the dark. It's a little creepy, but if it's a song he really really likes, which there's a handful of songs in there that he is really all in on. He's bought some of his favorite bands, etc. And if it's a song he jams with, he really is like a cross between like a ninja and a maestro, and one of those aerobics guys from like that aerobics meme. You know what I'm talking about. The aerobics national championships.
I totally know what you're talking about.
He's like a cross between
We've
all
seen
three of those things. That meme is brilliant. It also goes with Guile's theme, by the way. So if you want to see, so just go with it. It goes with everything that video does. So I feel like I really can't wait for this game, Gun Jam. I hope it is. I hope it is successful. I suspect that it will. I actually am really looking forward to seeing it at a GDQ.
Oh,
watching someone who is
Same.
like a true expert, really like Olympic gold medalist, quote unquote, playing through it, never missing a beat, and just seeing the crazy score chase / damage boosts, etc. when they like really break it and figure out the systems. I absolutely cannot wait.
That's going to be super super cool. I will be excited for that as well. I'll definitely be streaming the game when it comes out because I can't get it out of my head. It's extremely my kind of jam. But the chat will not exist while I am playing.
You're saying it's your gun jam?
My gun jam.
It's your gun jam. I cannot wait to be in the chat that you are promptly ignoring so you can play. I'll be the master of ceremonies that
Sounds
day.
Great.
You can do it on a Friday, and I will be the MC. I'll even wear funny glasses. I'll co-stream. I don't know. We'll think of it. I will handle the chat. I'll handle the chat
the best.
so that you can do your work.
That's you're hired.
So, well, you should handle the chat while I'm playing Elden Ring. That should be your help. Either that or you should be my cheerleader / Pokemon trainer, like the lady at the hospital. Only I am the Pokemon, and you're feeling my emotions. So all silliness aside, did you see anything else there that you can talk about? It's okay if you say no, because I know that they fill that week up with all sorts of crazy stuff.
They do. And listen, just like full disclosure, my GDC was mostly about networking and going to talks and stuff like that. But I did see a particularly interesting experience because it's a game, absolutely, but it's not a game that you can play on your computer. You have to actually interact with this particular controller. The game is called I'll grab, and let me see if I can like throw that into chat real quick so that you can take a look at it. I'll grab. Yeah, there it is. Because I took a picture of it. Oh, that's not how we type, Amanda.
It's all right. You've had a long week.
I really have. So that's how you spell it. Anyway, you essentially play a board game with this crow. And this is the kind of situation where it's like you have to it's a guessing game based on the way that the crow is telling its riddles. You have to determine whether or not the card you just slid face down in front of the crow, whether or not he is telling the truth about it, if the number is actually lower than he says or higher than he says, and you go through it such that either you get to the end of the
Yeah.
deck and therefore you win, or you get 3 strikes and then you're out. So it was a really entertaining experience because this crow speaks in riddles and speaks in rhymes, and the interaction itself, it very much feels like you're coming up to a sideshow.
Okay.
And you're sliding your card forward and you're trying to figure out, like, is he lying? Is he telling the truth? Like, what is he saying here? And you slide that card forward. The closer you get to victory, the more he'll ask, are you sure? He's a little smarmy crow, that Algrab, but very, very cool at alt control GDC. Which is honestly, it's always been my favorite part of the GDC Expo, is going to the alternative controller section. It gets better every year.
Yeah, I bet. This gives me... So I started watching some of the video as I was posting it. It's giving me kind of like low-key escape room vibes. It's like...
Yeah.
Because I've seen, because I go to the Boston Festival of Independent Games. So this was made by USC, right?
Yeah.
Looks like this was an educational project. So like, at BFIG, there have been any number of escape rooms that are not rooms. They're like escape experiences that play out like that.
Yeah.
So you're, the one that I played was a bookshelf it was an alchemy lab. There was a bookshelf full of stuff, and you had to interact with that. And this gives me that kind of a vibe that you're dealing with puzzles and interacting with this weird robot bird, but like you're having to play. In this case, it has a little bit of bluffing and a little bit of figuring out is the bird lying to you.
Yeah, and you have to understand his language and decipher his language because it is decipherable. You can kind of game the system once you understand his speech patterns, which is super cool.
Yeah.
And Mike figured that out first. It's such an interesting project, and it was the one that really grabbed our eyes, where we're just like, I've never seen anything like this before. So it was really, really cool.
That is really cool.
Serious props to the developer behind the game, Michael Pierce.
Yeah,
very,
that's awesome.
very cool human. Yeah.
That
Good
is
stuff. So
awesome.
That is all I can talk about, because everything else is either embargoed or is a question mark, and I don't want to potentially anger one of my favorite PR people.
We don't want to do that. The last thing we need.
The 2 other things are like heavily embargoed. Same time next week. Okay. Oh, end of this week. Okay, so there we go. So
we can talk. I
was right. Yeah, I was right, but it's cool.
We'll talk about it in 2 weeks. No worries. Thank you, disembodied voice, Mr. Footer.
All right, sounds good. Yes,
you,
he's actually like right. He's not quite right next to me anymore, so we can't like hold hands like we used to. But it's still cute because I can look over and I can see his face.
Oh, that's cute.
That's
Thank
nice.
you. Extend my thanks to the Embargo Guardian.
I will.
Mike Futter.
Thank you, Embargo Guardian.
That's a good name. He should totally get that costume.
I think he should run that. He should run
that.
that.
Like the Red Guardian from Black Widow, only it's about embargoes. So
only embargo. Yeah.
All the logos should be replaced by legal documents.
That's
sounds
good.
Like something we should have somebody draw.
100%. It's just going to basically be an entire outfit made of end user license agreements.
Yeah. So his motorcycle is just named Eula.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, really good name for a motorcycle.
Don't get me started, because I'm going to keep going with this. It really is.
I mean, you and I could we could vamp on this for hours, probably.
We could.
So,
no, for real.
All right. Okay, so all games aside, I'm super hyped for Gun Jam no question.
Jam's gonna be dope.
So we had some bad news / news we knew was coming. Let's be super honest with ourselves, and that is that The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2 is being delayed into 2023.
Right.
I mean, this isn't really news outside of the fact that they finally announced it, but we knew.
We knew.
We knew.
mean, the pandemic has been absolutely horrifyingly bad, especially for especially for developers. Like we have had a glut of glorious games this year already. We're
Yeah.
gonna start seeing that get a little bit smaller as we go forward.
Yeah. Well,
Not because they're not making great games anymore, but because those great games are going to continue to be pushed out. Like
Yeah.
their release date is going to get pushed a little further out.
Exactly. They've been making those games, and they're going to stay making those games.
Yeah.
And this year, this first quarter really feels like last year just got jammed into it. And it's not gonna, and that's kind of what we're living with. So we found out that Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2, is pushed out till next year, and so I actually went to look because let's be real. Anytime a Legend of Zelda game comes out, that is one of the projected, best family games of the year when it comes out. That's just kind of how that works. And so I went to look to see, like, does this ruin the year? Because there are a lot of folks that are like, oh, Zelda's not coming. I saw on Twitter, like, Zelda's not coming, so grats to Elden Ring, because nothing else can keep up with it. And I kind of disagree.
Did everybody forget that there are new Pokemon games coming out? Like,
I regret to inform all of them that not only are there new Pokemon games, but Tunic came out.
Yeah,
and,
hello. That's
Lego
also
Star
on my
Wars.
List of games to play.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Tunic is so good. And Lego Star Wars looks great. Also, like, and this is not for our audience necessarily, but I stare at them in God of War Ragnarok. Because if that game comes out this year, like, we know they know how to make it. We know Sony Santa Monica knows how to make a video game.
They know how to make games.
So I think I think the end of Q1 is too early to declare a winner, no matter how much we like things. However, I thought it would be interesting to kind of look back at the quarter one that was, and look forward to the rest of the year, because I think this year is going to be remarkably good for family video games, specifically for us. I think our end of year discussions are going to be very complicated. So I figured we would just talk about it.
Sounds great.
So let's start. Is this no joke? This year has already been kind of nuts. Excuse me. I don't know why I can't talk.
Yeah, it's time to go back to the very beginning, which is a very good place to start.
Yeah. So we started the year. This feels like a million years ago, but it really has been 2 months. We started with Pokemon Legends Arceus.
We did.
And then,
which I'm still playing.
Yeah, of course. And which is great in its own right. Then we had Ali World, which came out and did a lot of really cool stuff for a lot of folks. And let's see here. I'm just kind of scrolling through. Game Informer has an awesome list of the major games that have come out without me having to read through a million Steam lists, because we don't know how Steam works.
That's fair.
So, every month so far has had something crazy. So, I mean, that's just January. But also February had, and this is rated T, but Horizon Forbidden West, which is a very good video game. And then in March, we had WWE 2K22, which you and I have not really had much of a chance to talk about, but is very good. Oh, I think Amanda's frozen. Oh, she's either screaming or yawning or about to drop like the sickest beat ever. We'll wait for a moment. I just texted her to let her know that she froze. All right, everybody, we're going to deal with these technical issues, and we will be right back.
It is.
Hey, y'all, we're back. Amanda's internet decided that it wanted to take a break. It needed a moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Super helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, buddy. So I want to talk.
Thanks for that.
So January and February, we're good, right? We had Legends Arceus. We had in February we had Ali Ali World. We also had what was I just said it? We had Horizon Forbidden West, not Zero Dawn.
Yes.
But then March came in and was just like, what's up? Because here's what happened.
It was
in March.
hold my smoothie, man.
Hold my smoothie.
Smoothie.
Yeah. Listen to this, guys. So, and this was in a matter of 2 weeks. Gran Turismo 7, which has had some troubles, but is still very, very good. WWE 2K22, which, by the way, you and I haven't really spoken too much about it, because it came out like while you were very busy. But I will say this: it's very good. And then
I trust you.
Tunic.
I'm very excited to sit down and play that game.
And then Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out this past Friday. And that was all within the month of March. All 4 of those games are games that we will likely talk about at the end of the year. And then we get into 8. And so let's talk about Tunic for a moment, because you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. Tunic is freaking great. Tunic is great. Remember the first time they put out a demo, and I was like, I'm not happy?
Yeah, I do.
They fixed all that.
Awesome. I knew they would. It's a Finji produced game, so of course.
Well, it causes me to wonder kind of what their decision making process was as far as releasing that demo as it was. And
sure.
The main reason, because when they released it, it really showed off the challenging exploration. It really feels like it was like the middle of the game, even though it really was the start. And clearly they had a reason.
Right.
They're smarter than me. I'll let that go. But like even the second demo was like, oh, okay, there's checkpoints. Okay, so there's more to this. And then thanks to an interview with the Family Gaming Database over in the UK, Andy Robertson, he actually talked to Dicey, the developer, and they talked about all sorts of accessibility options that they put in there. Specifically, they had a bunch that dealt with comfort, reducing the vibration, color stuff, etc. Reducing screen shake, because we know those things make people uncomfortable. Then from a combat side, there is a no fail mode where it literally just becomes a puzzle game. And there is, if you want the combat to be challenging, but you do want to dial it back a little bit, there's an infinite stamina mode, which I think kind of is like a middle ground, right? Because in this game, you take more damage when you're out of stamina. So by default, since you can't run out of stamina, that reduces the overall damage you take throughout the game. So, once I found out about that stuff, I was all in again. I have played a handful of hours. I can't wait to play more. This coming weekend, I think I'm actually going to do a big old stream and play more of it.
Nice.
It is, without question, an awesome video game. it will be in the conversation for us. And I really think, once we get to the end of the year, I think it's going to be in the conversation for a lot of other outlets too, because of how good it is.
I agree.
And so, yeah, oh man, Tunic is so great. It really is. I can't recommend it enough. The thing holding a lot of people back is that it's an Xbox game right now. It's on PC too, but when this thing comes to Switch, which I can't imagine it won't eventually, because this is a Switch game. It feels like a Switch game. It's just Microsoft's helped pay for it. So like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, and it's also free on Game Pass, so it's hard to argue with that.
Exactly.
But now when we fast forward into April, which is very soon, like Friday soon, we get some more contenders that I think are really, like, again, rounding out this year as just a really good year for family games. And I think it's impossible to talk about that without talking about the importance of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because this feels to me, tell me if I'm wrong, Lego games used to be kind of throwaway, right? Like, it used to be that like Lego games were good, but they were cookie cutter, like they weren't major releases. They were just things you expected. Whereas this really does feel like it's being given the appropriate pomp and circumstance for like a real like AAA. Like this I have seen more people talking about this game and more outlets talking about this game than I have ever seen talk about a Lego game before. Am I?
Well, I think that also, if we take a look at the last Lego game that came out, I think it was Lego DC Supervillains 2. That was the last Lego game that we saw. There was only one. Okay, yeah. I think that there was, see, I got my man in the chair. No, ain't nobody need any other man in the chair, because I got man in the chair. Right, okay. I got it. Thanks, Hen.
We should just give him a headset.
We should. Yeah. He fact checks me all the time. I appreciate that. Like, having my in-house fact checker is just like the greatest thing in the world. You'd think it would be
I appreciate
really
it
annoying,
too.
but it's actually really great.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm sure he's a better fact checker. He's a more pleasant fact checker than my teenagers.
Ah, well, that's
just come in
true.
they just walk down that hallway and just yell.
They just yell at you. Like, hey, Dad.
So the last Lego game that came out.
So I guess the Lego movie 2 was the last Lego video game that came out. So anyway, they have done a ton around licenses for a number of years. I mean, I think my favorite favorite Lego games outside of the Lord of the Rings games, because of course, was, I think, Lego Indiana Jones. That was the one I loved most. But no one talks about the Lego games because they're for kids.
Yeah.
They're video games light. It's like talking about, a Barbie licensed game or something like that. Not to knock Barbie or anything like that, but like that tends to be the kind of engagement that it receives.
Yeah. Well, they don't make AAA Barbie games. You know what I mean? Like, those are licensed kind of shovelware things.
Well, I mean,
that are meant for
Activision published them, I believe.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of like the way that people have looked at some of the Lego games in the past. But I think that with the advent of the Skywalker saga, I think we're moving to a new way to experience Lego games that go beyond their licenses, and they're truly creative, and they're not just kind of like rehashing rehashing the same gameplay over and over again.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I mean, this game, they added like melee combos, so you might play. They've added a cover system where you stick to cover, like in Gears of War. They've added dog fighting. it looks, I mean, it's not Wing Commander, but it's a step above what there was before. Um,
No, but it could be like Lego X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and that could be
yeah,
kind of cool.
that sounds fantastic. All stuck in one game. So
I mean, I'm not mad about it. That's all I know.
I am very much looking forward to picking this up next week, and playing a lot of it because I think this has a chance. I specifically like the fact that, and have you seen
I
this
agree.
part, that you can choose to have either dialogue from the movies or the mumble jokes from the previous games.
Oh my gosh, no, I did not see that. That is very funny.
Um, I don't know how much that like trends through the whole thing, but the fact that you can make it so it's mumble shenanigans like in the early games makes me very excited because I think there's a lot of room to like make fun of Star Wars. Let's be honest.
That's true.
And
As a Star Wars fan, yes.
yeah, I mean, and this has the opportunity to like kind of make fun of that in some very cool ways. So I am. It also looks great because it's being made to take advantage of some of the next gen stuff. So I am very much looking forward to that. And the other thing, and we're obviously going to have to find out how it works out. We don't know. We don't really know. But we also have Nintendo Switch Sports and the new Mario Strikers game coming out this year.
Ooh.
And think about it.
Ooh, new Mario Strikers? Like, hello.
And that's just June. You know what I mean? And we have new Pokemon coming in the fall, which is, that's crazy when you think about it.
That's going to be probably a November, December thing if I had to guess, but I am excited about the year ahead of us. Anyone that says that Breath of the Wild 2 has killed any hopes for truly great games this year, y'all need to go back and look at the release list. We've had some incredible bangers this year already, and not just Elden Ring, and not just Horizon Forbidden West, like some really great little like games that are appropriate for smaller children, and we have a lot to look forward to. So remember that.
We're gonna have we are truly going to have a very busy 2022 here at EFG. So if you thought we were going to be able to sleep the year away because there was no Zelda, nope, not at all. We got lots of stuff, and I didn't even talk about.
We are not.
We got the show coming next week. We got. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, with that said, Amanda, we did it. We made it through.
Yes, we did.
One more episode of the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. Everybody, this has been our video game week. I'll be back next week for board game week, but it's going to be on a special time. And so this is a quick programming note. Next week's board game podcast will actually be recorded on Thursday night in place of the EFG show because I have a special guest that I booked. One, Danielle Standring from TikTok is going to find her way. She is the official TikTok artist. Are you TikTok artist? She does the TikToks for Game Right. She does their official stuff, and she is also very funny. And so she is my favorite TikToker, and I shot my shot, and I said, "Hey, you want to come on my show?" And she said, "Yeah." But normal podcast times are bedtime for her, so she's taking over the EFG show with me. She also she and I also are destined to be BFFs because she plays World of Warcraft. So that's going to be a wild ride.
There you go.
Apparently, they have done nothing but play Elden Ring. Their household, it's been Elden Ring and board games. So
I get it.
So anyway, so that's next week. There will be no podcast on Tuesday. Instead, I'm going to stream a video game, probably Tunic.
All right.
So Tuesday around this time, I will be streaming Tunic. And then Thursday we will have the EFG show / Engaged Family Gaming Podcast combined. So everybody, I hope you have a wonderful night. I'll be back on Thursday for the EFG show. And we'll cover all sorts of news like new PlayStation Plus stuff that dropped today, And apparently there's some other stuff with an embargo dropping later on this week, so maybe I'll have more things to talk about. Who the heck knows? Y'all have a great night, and we will see you soon. Until next time, don't forget to get your family game on. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.